Okay, we're gonna do something a little bit different in this video. I'm gonna talk about some data that came in over the weekend. And this is really important. So this is just a spreadsheet, some data that I collect. And you can see there's different dates here all the way back from November 6th. And just, we got some dates in here, right? The 9th, 11th, 12, 14, 19, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is what, there's two sides to the certainty rate. You can have a positive side, meaning the rate went up, okay? Or you can have a negative side, the rate went down. So we're only looking at the negative side. That's why there's some dates missing here, okay? I won't dive too deep into what that all really means, but basically we want to focus down here. So today is the 3rd, which is Sunday, all right? Let me just put that here. Today is Sunday. Okay, it's a little small because this is, make these two 16, I think it was. Fine. And that one right there was Saturday, okay? If I could spell, would be good. All right, Saturday and Sunday, right? So you can see that on Saturday here, we had a 29 for the certainty rate. But this is the negative side. So this, I just put things in absolute value. I'm not going to dive too deep into, why I do things. Just my program background, my mathematics background, I deal a lot with absolute values rather than positive, negative integers, okay? Excuse me. So that's Saturday. We had a certainty rate that dropped by 29, okay? And then today's Sunday, which is, there's more data to come in, but so far it dropped an additional 9.4. So you can see over the weekend, the certainty rate has dropped quite a bit. All right. So now I'm going to move over to the charts. We're going to, obviously the charts, in trading, there's no chart data for the weekends, right? But data that I collect still comes in over the weekends. Now, people have asked me, what is this certainty rate thing? What the heck are you talking about? I'm just going to call this energy flow. This is just energy flow. I'm just measuring the change in energy flow, okay? And that's a very in-depth subject that does influence human behavior. It influences, I don't even know how to explain it. It just influences everything. It literally influences everything. For instance, the earthquake that just happened, the big earthquake that just happened. It happened one day after we had a strong G3 geomagnetic storm that came from the sun. Okay, so that G3 storm was a combination of kind of several waves of geomagnetic solar energy, I guess you could call it, that culminated and kind of built up and hit the earth all at once, okay? That was, I think, yesterday, December 1st. Or maybe it was 2 days ago, 2 days ago. So the day after that, we had this big earthquake. I think it was in the Philippines, if I remember right. 7.6 or 7, something way up in the sevens, which didn't surprise me. I didn't talk about it because I've been very busy with some other stuff, but I mentioned it briefly in the solar channel on my Discord server. Yeah, believe it or not, even though my service is primarily focused around, the trading the markets, there's a channel for the members on the Discord server that's a solar channel. I'm almost positive most members don't pay attention to it because they just don't understand the correlation. They don't care. But there's a few members that do. And those are I don't want to start making other members sound like they're not being wise, but the few members that pay attention to that solar channel and pay attention to the solar activity, yeah, they're wise because it has a big influence on everything that happens on the earth. Huge influence. Okay, so that's kind of what we're measuring here. That's partly what's being measured. It's more than just that, but that's part of what's being measured here, okay? So there are massive correlations, cyclical correlations. I also do psychoanalysis. I've been doing that for years. And for those that don't watch Slim or Steve Miller and his team, they do psychoanalysis. And, they're probably the foremost experts in psychoanalysis because, Slim, that's his nickname. They've been doing it. He's been involved in psychoanalysis one way or another probably for, better part of 30, 40 years maybe. Okay, something like this. Long time. And I call him the grandpa psychoanalysis. But anyway, this video is not about him, about his team, even though they do great work. The point is, I took the psychoanalysis that he started and his team does and kind of kept expanding on it and kept exploring cycles in general. And this is part of that, okay? You can think of it as an addendum, a very important addendum. And the correlation is absolutely huge. Now, it isn't always as perfectly reliable. How do I say this? It's not like clockwork predictable. There's behaviors about this particular energy uncertainty rate, and I also have a universe indicator. Those indicators, I use them in my trading, not only. I use them in conjunction with other indicators and other analysis, but this certainty rate and the universe indicator are huge. They go such a huge way towards me making my own trades. Now, back in October, the universe indicator was so, I don't even know, God, it was so accurate. It was crazy how accurate it was. I mean, there was huge money making, big bank trades for October. Okay, because October was a very bearish month, super bearish month, and the universe indicator and the certainty rate were extremely helpful. Money was just flowing. Okay, we get into November. Of course, the market changed, became very bullish, and there's a kind of an inverse correlation that goes on, and I'm still kind of working on that piece. One of the difficulties is knowing when there's change in behavior. And what we're talking about here is, everybody's familiar with change and should be familiar with change of behavior in the marketplace. In other words, if you go from a bearish trend to a bullish trend like we did from October to November, that's a change of behavior, right? You can see it. Things are going down through October, then up through November, right? And now into December, looking kind of peaky here for just a little pause in the market. But I want you to think about that exact same concept, but more on a very large scale, okay? A very magnificent scale. A scale that's so huge you almost can't wrap your mind around it. Now, I've been tracking universe and indicator data and my certainty rate data for probably 2 years now. Yeah, a little over 2 years. And so I'm very good at understanding this data, though there's more room to go. So anyway, I know I'm kind of getting long about this whole thing, but I want you to understand that the tracking of this energy is extremely important. Okay, so let's switch over to the charts because I want you to remember how much we had this big change in the certainty rate, right? We had a big drop, basically a big drop in energy flow, okay, over the weekend. All right, so let's switch to the charts. We'll talk about it. Okay, so here we are on the daily chart. This is just the S&P 500 futures, which, if you're trading the SPY or the SPX, it's almost the same, okay? It's just futures trade 23 hours a day, where the SPX and the does not. And the Spider, I know, has extended hours, but basically most of the trading is intraday. But futures trade, 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. They only take a break for like about an hour. So this is the product I normally watch, and this is the product that I almost always trade, okay? I trade mostly the E-minis nowadays. My account size has got big enough where I can trade this, okay? And just want to touch on that briefly. Some of my members that utilize my service, by the way, if you want to know more about the service, hang around to the end of the video. It's $7.99 a month, and I'll briefly touch on that, okay? But I know there's several members right now that, chat with me once in a while. Sometimes they DM me. and there's other members as well that are making trades all week long, and they're growing their accounts, guys and gals. That's what they're doing. And I know there's members right now that are trading some of the smaller products like the micro futures, and they might be doing options and stuff like that. And that's great. But I know for a fact, because they've told me, they're growing their account. And when their account gets to big enough, they're going to switch to the E-mini contracts. Let me tell you something. When you switch to the E-minis, it only takes a small mover to make a lot of money. Now, if you didn't watch my video back a few days back last week, I made a $900 trade, and the market didn't have to move that much at all. And that day, that market barely moved. The market was totally dead. It was like a 25 range day, but I still made $900. Okay, so I just want to touch on that because the service that I provide to my members, a lot of them are using it the right way. They're patient. They're making small gains every day. They're making a few $100 every day, whatever. Some are making more, some are making less, but they're building their accounts, and they're just going to keep doing that. And eventually they're going to get to the place where the account's big enough that they can trade some bigger products and make bigger money. That's how you do it. Okay. You don't do all in craziness. All right. So back to the chart here on the daily. You'll notice that we had this, very kind of spiky day compared to the rest of the days for the last week and a half. On Friday, we had a range of 45, that green candlestick right there. Okay, this one. Range was 45. Okay, all the other days, going back, look at this, 3, 6, 7, 8 days back, maybe 7 days back, was just riding right along this resistance. Okay, let me move the chart up a little bit. Let's see if I can expand this a little bit. Okay. All right, so today is Sunday. I'm doing this video on Sunday, right? Now, here's the universe indicator. Now, I don't really share this day to day with the general public. I am now, but I'm just, as kind of as a promo, I guess, but also for my members. I'm going to share it here on Sunday, okay? But the members get access to this every day. They get this every night in the email. They get this chart, okay? And I always talk about, they get a snapshot of this chart, which is part of the service, in addition to the some other streaming charts that they get during the day. But on the email, they get this chart right here, and I talk to them a little about what's going on. And yeah, I might even mention the universe indicator a little bit to them, but I translate this into verbiage, right, for them into words. Okay, so here was Friday. So since the market doesn't trade on weekends, what I want you to understand, going back to the beginning of this video, we talked about the certainty rate in the universe data. What happened over the weekend, even though you're not going to see on this chart, what really happened in the weekend is something like this. Okay, it came down even more. Right? But you obviously can't chart Saturdays and Sundays on a chart that only has Monday through Friday, right? But I just want you to understand that that's what happened. So here we are going to come up here in like 2 hours or so, and the futures are going to open because they open on Sunday night. All right. So what do I think? So I know they're like, okay, a lot of people just want to know, okay, shut up already. Tell us what's going to happen in the market. Well, see, that's the problem right there. That's the problem with the mentality. If that's the way you are, that's fine. I'm not here necessarily to tell you how to live your life. But if that's your mentality, you're on the wrong road, because you just want people to feed you information and make the quick buck and move on to your next high or get drunk or okay, I don't mean that literally, but you know what I mean. In other words, you're not gaining understanding and wisdom in life. You just want people to give it to you, and then it's kind of like winning a Lamborghini, right? You didn't earn it, you won it. And there are a lot of people in life that are like that, just want to win everything. They want everything gifted to them and handed to them. But guess what? You don't gain any understanding, and you certainly don't gain any wisdom. Right? You want to gain the understanding and the wisdom so that you can begin to make decisions for yourself. That's how you really excel in life, guys and gals. It isn't just about the money. Sure, I want to make a buck as much as anybody else, but it's not really about the money. Okay? Okay, so what do I think is going to happen? I think there's a really good chance the market's going to pull back. Now, that doesn't mean it still can't come up to this 46.31. It may do that. It may get a bounce up into here and maybe get a little above that. But then I think it's going to turn real hard and start coming down, maybe 100 to 200 points, okay? That's probably what's going to happen. That's the most likely scenario. Now I could be completely missing this. If you look back here at the universe, look at this massive climb in the universe energy flow. Okay, it started right about here. Did the market do a massive climb? I mean, it climbed. It climbed about 70 points up in here, 60 points. Yeah. So from the time that came in to about right in here, starting about right here, it climbed about 60 points. So it didn't make this big, huge move, even though this universe rate was going ballistic. This is a big move, by the way. You can see over here at the chart, 400 all the way up to 600. That's massive movement. But the market didn't do that. It just kind of come up here, hit some resistance. Okay, so in other words, I don't just rely just on this data. It's an important part of analysis, but I don't rely on it exclusively. Okay. So you can see here that look at all this divergence going on. Now the SMI took a dip and wants to do a bounce. And the same thing with the MACD. It may not be obvious. Look, the MACD kind of pinched and looks like it wants to go up some more. Now the Big Daddy forecast is sitting here right today, as of Friday was sitting there at 365. That's kind of high. That's kind of high. It's not in the nosebleed section, but it's pretty high. It's got divergence going on as well. Now I could completely miss this. Wait, this is what's called inversion. This is going this way. The market could blast off. That's I've seen that happen. Like I said, this science, if you want to call it, is not perfected, right? It's in the infancy stage of being developed. Literally, I talked about this maybe like a few months ago. The universe is around for we're talking billions of years, right? So when a month or two goes by, that's nothing to the universe, right? It's a little, not even a blink of an eye, right? So there's still a whole lot of learning going on here. And we're in the infancy stage of understanding how energy flow across the entire universe impacts our sun and impacts the earth. And I'm telling you right now, it most definitely does impact the earth, and it impacts us, which also impacts the markets. So this is the I honestly believe this is the only two things that are going to happen. We're not going to see more chucking sideways. This is just going to already fizzling out, this whole choppy sideways thing. So most likely we're either going to get this big, a pretty decent pullback, maybe 100 to 200 points in here, or we're going to pierce right through this 46.31 and take off, and maybe even go to all-time highs. Okay, but I think there's a 47 up there somewhere. I'm not going to get into that right now. It's on the weekly chart. Okay. So in a nutshell, over the weekend we had a pretty big development. We had quite a bit of the universe energy fell dramatically. It just fell off quite a bit, like a lot. And then we had the earthquake in the Philippines. Yes, it's all related. It's all related. That earthquake in the Philippines has to do with the fact the Earth was stressed. Okay, it got significantly stressed. By the way, energy was building up in the Earth. You almost can think of it as a capacitor. I talk about this all the time. Okay, the Earth was getting stressed and stressed and stressed. Look at the Earth just being stressed right here. Stress, 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 stress. Earth getting stressed. And boom, it released over the last few days. The energy level fell hard. And earthquake, boom. That's the Earth releasing the stress. That's literally what happened. Okay, there's a couple other really high IQ people that talked about this phenomenon. I think it was at the EU Electric Universe Symposium or something a few years back. There was a gentleman that talked about this, and he got kind of railroaded a little bit. I don't remember his name, but really smart, super bright guy. He talked about this. And of course, he was right. And then he promptly moved to some remote island or something and got away from all the madness in a rat race because he couldn't handle all the negative feedback. Because there are people that don't want to let go of certain models, the standard model. Okay, now we're getting into cosmology and stuff, but they don't want to let go of the standard model. They don't want to let go of the gravity model. Okay, they make a lot. They bring in a lot of government money. You sticking to the same old, don't rock the boat kind of crowd. And of course, anytime you see that, something's very wrong. But anyway, I digress. And getting back to this, usually we see this kind of this kind of energy increase, and then the Earth responds, we not always, but a lot of times we get a movement in the market. They just go hand in hand. It happens a lot. It's a very, very frequent correlation. So anyway, the cat's kind of out of the bag here, right? About this whole correlation between energy flow, solar flow, and how the market responds to it, all right? All right, so I expect the market to make probably a pretty decent move. Of the two, will it blast off and go above 46.31, go up into that 47 area, or is it going to pull back down here in December 10th? Of the two, I think the December 10th one's the most likely to happen. See, because this talks about energy flow, which impacts the market. But what it doesn't necessarily, it's not always easy to ascertain direction. It's basically what it comes down to. In October, man, we were firing. Man, October was a huge moneymaker month. The universe energy flow, the certainty rate, and the charts, it was easy money, guys. I had members making money every day. They were making $300, $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 every day. Everybody was making money. Well, I don't know about everybody, but the members that were smart were. Okay, November's been a little bit trickier. All right, so like I said, this is a kind of a concept that's in its infancy stage that I'm going to continue to explore, that showed a lot of promise. And sometimes it's so accurate, it's crazy how accurate it is. And other times there's inversion going on and it's not as obvious. Okay, so that's my take over the weekend. I know it's kind of a long video, but I honestly believe we're going to get a pretty big move in the market, probably 100 to 200 points, and then we're going to wait to see, does this bust up way above the 46.31 and go up into that 4,700 area? We'll finish off this video by looking at the weekly chart to see what that is, or is it going to come down 100 to 200 points down to December 10th? All right, so here on the weekly chart, just going to finish up with this. And like I said, if you want to become a member, then stick around. I'll talk about that. If not, this will be, you can always cut away from after this little section here. So here's this 46.31 that hasn't quite reached it, right? The high on Friday was 46.07, okay? And let's see, what is this candlestick right here? This candlestick right here is 46.71 for the high. So that'd be about another 60 points from where we're at, maybe a little more, another 63, 64 points, something like this. Okay, that's this right here, which 46.71, and then above that is 47.39. Okay, so those would be natural resistance. Let me just, since we're here, let's go ahead and stick them in there. There's this one right here. I'll just pull it out here. This is 46.71. So if I duplicate this is kind of crowded up in here, so I'll stick it over here a little bit. We'll change this to 46.71. All right, that's that one. This is we're kind of pinching 46.71. Kind of pinching this in there to make it fit, but it's okay, just for the sake of the video. Okay, that's that line right above that. That would be the next natural resistance point, is 46.71. There's another one up here at 47.39. Okay, so I'll put that in there too, since we're up here, we're up in this area. And if it does break above this, then everybody will be happy to know those are most likely the next ones. Okay, let me stick that in there too. One more check here. 47.39. Getting crowded. All right, and then we'll change this to say, no, that's okay, we can leave that one there. And then we just need to change this to 47.39, so the line's all in the right place. Bingo. Oh, I've got to change the color. For some reason I got a thing for yellow going on here, so we'll stick with that plan. All right, there you go. Those are the numbers. So if this week, as we go through, and because the market is still very strong, I see here on the weekly chart the SMI is almost hitting at 80. That's pretty high. My mouse is giving me a hard time here. Let me try that again. 79. So that's pretty high. We got a little bit of a rolling under and crossing over on the MACD. That's a pretty significant. And here on the weekly, we're at 384. Now, that would normally be a high number, but for the weekly, I've seen higher. Look at this one. This one's at 445. So we'll be keeping a very good close eye on the big daddies, an excellent indicator at knowing the market's about to get exhausted. So it's not quite there yet. So I could see this getting one more pop. I can see this getting one. I mean, the SMI is like now really in the nosebleed, almost in the nosebleed section. But I could see this getting one more pop, 46.31, maybe up to this 46.71, and then I think it'll roll over. Okay. But from where we're at right now, 46, it could go up to 47.07. Yeah. So it could actually get up into one of these other two resistance, 46.71 or 47.39. There could be one more pop up into that area. And then if it pulls back 100 points, be 46.39, maybe 46. Yeah. So we'll have to wait to see how this plays out over. This week's going to be a pretty critical week. But either way, I think we're going to get a pretty big move in the market. The daily says we're going down. The weekly says there's a little bit more to go up. So we're kind of in that zone where, we're not really sure which way this is going to roll. But based on the data I've seen over the weekend, there's definitely going to be a move. And I think the minimum is 100 to 200 points. Okay, so if you want to become a member, read the instructions just below this video on YouTube. Make sure you read those instructions very carefully because they're going to help you join without having any problems. Once you do and click on that link that's there, it's going to bring you over to get a server. Then you're going to click on server shop. It's going to bring you to this page right here. $7.99. Okay. Now you just heard how I talked about how some members are making $100, $200 a day. Okay. I'm not going to promise you're going to make that money because it has a lot to do with your maturity, has a lot to do with your account size, it has a lot to do with how patient you're going to be. Okay, so let's talk about what you get with the service. Well, you saw a lot of the things in this video that go into the service, right? So in addition to everything you saw in this video already, you get streaming charts. Okay, there's three streaming charts. There's the 1 hour, the 15-minute, and the 5-minute streaming charts. And there's an indicator on there that helps kind of drive when there might be some good trades. When that happens, it sends an alert over to this alert channel, the S&P 500 alerts channel. So in addition to the streaming charts, you also get alerted on this channel. Okay, this is a Discord app. You can load this on your desktop. You can load it on your PC, you can load it on your laptop. You can load it on your mobile phone even. All right. Like I said, make sure you read the instructions before you join because the mobile phones, you might have to do it on a laptop or a desktop first. Okay, Windows desktop to join. Okay, but anyway, you get the streaming charts. You get alerts that go to the S&P 500 channel. Okay. You also get gold alerts, crude oil, top 30 stocks for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are in this channel. I talked about earlier in this video that if you want to get the nightly email, talk about those emails, you can put your email address right in there. And every night, Monday through Thursday, I don't do it on Fridays, but I do it Monday through Thursday, you'll get a nightly email. And you're going to the attachment of the S&P 500 chart with the cycle analysis on there, my commentary about what the market's doing, okay? And there's some symbols that are in this channel here, some premium symbols that are in there. Really good channel. I put them there every night. Okay. Also, I trade some currency once in a while. That might be the Canadian dollar, the British pound. It might be, the euro dollar. If I do that, I'll put those trades in there from time to time. Okay, fixed income. Sometimes I'll trade some corporate bonds or just something, especially in today's economy with high inflation. I might put some banks that have really good CDs or even savings account. Like I'm earning over 5% on one of my savings accounts right now. Okay, so I'll put that information in there. Right, so almost all of these channels right here, including the streaming charts and everything else, that's all members only. This is the only channel that's like open to the public and there's nothing in there. It's just like, hello, hi, I'm here. Okay, so you're not gonna be able to get any information, anything, no member services go on this channel. All right, if you have any support issues, just put them and you're already a member, put them in the member chat, okay? All right, pretty simple to join. The service is amazing for $7.99. I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't mean this to kind of like toot my horn or anything, but I honestly think I could charge $50 a month, and people would pay because that's how good the service has been. The service has been really good. I've had this service for about 2 years, and I use the service myself. Like I said earlier in this video, I made a $900 trade on a day with the range was only like 25 points. Okay, trading the E-mini. I'm pretty busy because I got some other things that are going on besides just running this business. But so I only trade once in a while, but I traded that trade. I made $900 in one day on a market that was basically dead. Okay, so yes, I use the service myself. This $7.99 is a crazy value. And for now, I'm going to hold it right there. To consider it a Merry Christmas gift to everybody for this crazy cheap price, okay? All right, that's it, everybody. This week for members, just be aware, I mentioned the Discord server, but I'm going to mention it in this video. There's not going to be any videos from December 5th through the 11th, okay? No videos, but I will still put out the nightly email. All right? Okay, God bless everybody. Hope you're all having a good one. Talk to you all real soon again next time.